guys. Welcome back. Well, hopefully today the chat will work fine. And I do want to check one thing in the Discord before we forget, because there was a issue with the Notify program where the system wasn't getting the notifications out, and I do see a message waiting for me. Let's see if it's from me. Um, yes, it's me. It went live. Perfect. And it's got the link. That's even better. Because originally what was happening was it wasn't getting the link. So you go click on it and it was getting you to the wrong place. Okay. So that's a big deal. Got that fixed now. Let me see if I can make the screen bigger for me and you to read the chat over here. So let's go back to about 110%. And let's close the Discord panel link. I don't need that open. I just was testing to see if it was in there. It is. Perfect. And so we're going to continue where we left off with Grok. Hopefully we're not going to have any problem with audio. I did have to ask Grok to update a few things before we get live. So we are going to catch up where we left off. And what I asked it was as follows. Hopefully, can you give me a summary of where we left off from the last summary? And the reason is that this way we all get caught up on deck. And we're going to play that. But before we do that, I just want to remind you guys something. This story here is a project that I'm working on with you as a collaborative story with Grok, which means that we're building the story one segment at a time. So it's not like basically I give the whole job to Grok and have it spit out all the content. That's not what we're doing. So there is a human involvement here. A human is actually at the wheel. And unfortunately, sometimes the human basically makes mixed up decisions. If you see me drive my European truck, you know what I'm talking about. All right, so let's go ahead and get caught up with the summary, and then we'll go from there. Hopefully you guys can hear it. If you can, great. I hope you can. I can't tell, but I didn't change anything since last time.
Story recap. Current status, overall setting and time. Quel'Thalas, Silver Moon on Azeroth. Characters are elves using human aging for the story. You, Lumi, and Carmen are approximately 14 human years old. Roughly 6 to 7 months have passed since the start of the story. Main character updates. Michelle Marie, you. Light blonde hair, gray-blue eyes. First-year druid at Verdant Grove Academy. Recently completed Healing Hall's internship. Emotional lessons around life, death, and healing. Now in warrior cross-training, including defensive dancing at Dawnspire. Lumi, reddish-brown hair, also a druid, training alongside you, developing interest in woodworking, and has started weekend apprenticeships with Braindead's father and Hammerand Nails. Carmen, dark brown hair with silver bells, back at Dawnspire Academy full-time on scholarship with Whitney and Bobby, much happier and healthier after leaving the controlling Eternal Grace troop, lives in student housing during the week and visits her family every few weekends. Whitney and Bobby, also at Dawnspire, thriving as students and helping teach defensive dancing to the druids. Braindead, Shadow Priest trainee, serious, analytical, key friend and support, resurrected you and Lumi in the first battleground. Lyrel Sunflare, Galaxy Eyes, Fire Mage, bold and fiery as ever. Key recent events, druid training progress, multidisciplinary, completed basic nature magic plus healing halls, dealing with death dying, now doing warrior cross-training, combat healing plus defensive dancing taught by Carmen, Whitney, and Bobby. Next will be mage cross-training, then first real horde battleground. Just completed the first supervised one versus orcs. Narrow win but revealed clear weaknesses in coordination and healing under pressure. First battleground. You and Lumi fell in combat and experienced death resurrection for the first time, brought back by Braindead. Highlighted areas needing improvement. Workshop, Favela Arc. You and Lumi visited Braindead's family in the resourceful lower terraces. Discovered composting toilets, rooftop cisterns, oil lamps, wood scrap cooking, and strong community adaptation. Your father, major building contractor, is interested in your past life memories and the sustainable building projects led by Braindead's father and Hammer and Nails. Lumi is now regularly learning woodworking on weekends. Group dynamic, stronger than ever. Everyone balancing intense training with friendship time. Recreational mild dream bloom visits to the Fuming Lantern still happen occasionally for relaxation. Current mood themes: growth through challenge, healing, combat, craftsmanship, sustainability. Contrasts between different districts of Silver Moon wealthy versus resourceful favelas. Blending past life memories with current elven lives. Excitement and nervousness about upcoming mage training and future battlegrounds. Would you like me to expand on any part, or shall we continue the story from here? Just say the word.
And what I realized is we never gave the parents any names, and so I decided to flesh out more of the backstory of the characters so that we have a better guideline. This is something the writers do have to do occasionally at the beginning of the story. As the story goes, you build up the character. You don't do it overnight in 1 minute or one sentence. It takes a lot of time to make a good story and characters that are engaging. And so, therefore, the story is certainly is going to be filling in as we go because it needs to be filled in. Okay, so I said, and I got to get some deoxide on this volume now. This thing is scratchy. I got some deoxide on the wish list if anybody is willing to buy some. I said we need a name for Brain Dad's dad. We never gave him one, and so she said, and I'm going to read it to you. Okay.
Good catch. We never named him. Suggested name for Braindead's father, Lorandel Timberheart. It fits perfectly. Lorandel has that classic, elegant Cinderay sound. Timberheart reflects his carpenter nature, strength, and connection to wood, while still feeling like a proud family surname in Quelthalis. Would you like to go with Lorandel Timberheart, or would you prefer a different option? Here are a couple alternatives if you want choices. Araneth Woodweaver, Thalorian Oakenshade, Kaelvin Ironroot, if you want a slightly stronger, more grounded feel. Let me know which one you like or suggest your own, and I'll start using it going forward.
Lorendo's fine, actually. I'm going to go ahead and I didn't realize at the time, so I came up with the name. We need to work on Lumi's family too. I could see her full name being something to do with light. Maybe a special light her mother saw when she was born. I was thinking of Lumira. Likewise, we need to work on Lumi's family info. And soon people will be visiting her family. Because eventually, we've already visited Lorendel's house. We already found out about my family. And we found out about, Carmen. We haven't visited Carmen's house yet, but we have visited Whitney's. And so there's definitely these things that we need to do. So I said, we also need to work on Lumi's family too. I could see her full name being something to do with light, maybe a special light her mother saw when she was born. I was thinking Lumira. Likewise, we need to work on Lumi's family info, and soon we'll be visiting her family. And so because I asked these ahead of time, that's why I'm kind of rushing through these because I already asked. So let's read out loud. Let's see.
Perfect. Let's flesh out Lumi's family properly. Lumi's full name and family full name. Lumira Dawnvale. You can shorten it to Lumi as always. The full name feels elegant and ties into the light theme you wanted. Meaning, origin of name. When Lumi was born, her mother saw a particularly brilliant shaft of dawn light break through the canopy and fall directly onto the baby, illuminating her reddish-brown hair like living fire. The family took it as a blessing and named her Lumira, Light of Dawn. Lumi's family background. Mother, Seraphina Dawnvale, a graceful, wise Cinderay scholar and archivist who works at one of Silver Moon's lesser-known libraries, specializing in ancient Quelthalis history and star charts. She's calm, nurturing, and has a quiet spiritual side, which is why she was so moved by the dawn light at Lumi's birth. She's supportive of Lumi's druid path but worries about the dangers of combat training. Father, Valor Dawnvale, a mid-level arcane technician who maintains and repairs the city's floating crystals and public arcane infrastructure. Practical, witty, and a bit of a tinkerer. He's proud of Lumi's growing interest in woodworking and has started encouraging her to blend magic with craftsmanship. Younger brother, Finian Dawnvale, age number 9 human years. Energetic and curious little brother who idolizes Lumi. He's obsessed with animals and keeps asking when she'll teach him how to turn into a cat. Home, a comfortable but not extravagant house in the middle terraces of Silver Moon. Better infrastructure than the lower terraces, reliable crystal lighting, proper plumbing, but still very lived in and warm. They have a small rooftop garden that Lumi has started improving with her new druid skills. Family personality, close-knit, supportive, and a bit more modern city than some of the lower terrace families, but still value hard work and creativity. They're excited about Lumi's friendship circle and have heard a lot about you, Carmen, Braindead, etc. Would you like any adjustments to the names or family details? Once you confirm, we can have the group or just you and Lumi visit her family home in the next scene. Let me know how you want to proceed.
And we are going to continue. And now I just want to see where we are in the views as well. 5 watching. Don't be afraid to talk, guys, in the comments. We are going to be going on with the story. Right now, we're just kind of filling in the blanks because the next one is the last chunk of the questions I asked is, what do you think about the zodiac signs would be both Lumi's parents and Michelle's parents? I can see Michelle's mother being a Virgo or a Capricorn and her father, hard to say. And she goes on and says right here, um, so, by the
Here's
way,
my take on zodiac signs for the parents, keeping in mind their personalities, roles, and how they fit into the story. Mikkel's parents, mother, Lady Elowen Marie, Virgo. This fits her really well. As a town clerk who works with contractors, permits, and detailed regulations, she's organized, practical, service-oriented, and notices the small things. Virgos are often the fixers and record keepers in a community, exactly the energy she brings. She's nurturing, but also has high standards. Father, Lord Thalarian Marie, Capricorn, strong, ambitious, disciplined, and a natural leader who built his own contracting company from the ground up. Capricorns are excellent at long-term planning, responsibility, and turning hard work into stability. Deep down, he misses the hands-on craftsmanship. Classic Capricorn, I built this with my own hands pride, but he's now in the executive role. Lumi's parents, Dawnvale family, mother, Serafina Dawnvale, Pisces, the spiritual, intuitive, artistic scholar who is deeply moved by the dawn light at Lumi's birth. Pisces energy fits her gentle wisdom, love of history and star charts, and emotional depth. She's the dreamy, nurturing parent who senses things on a deeper level. Father, Valor Dawnvale, Aquarius, innovative arcane technician and tinkerer who works with crystals and infrastructure. Aquarians are forward-thinking, inventive, a bit unconventional, and interested in how systems work. He'd be the one encouraging Lumi to blend druid magic with technology craftsmanship. Quick summary of family zodiac vibes. Mikkel's family, Virgo mom plus Capricorn dad equals practical, hardworking, structured household with high expectations but strong support. Lumi's family, Pisces mom plus Aquarius dad equals more creative, open-minded, and spiritually curious home with
how you
room for
doing,
individuality
FC?
and new ideas. These also contrast nicely with the girls themselves, you as Virgo, Lumi as Aquarius, creating interesting parent-child dynamics. Do you like these, or would you like to tweak any of them or add rising signs, other details? We can also use them when we visit the families.
All right, and the last set of questions I asked, and then I'm going to confirm everything she said so she knows, so we don't get lost. Actually, you got 2 more chunks. Oh, good God. Wow, okay, so you really did a lot of preparing things in advance. Now might as well fill in Lee L's family tree and Brain Dead's too. And then I think after that we continue on from there. It's a lot of text, so if this thing runs out of air, so to speak, I will finish reading it from here. Oh, actually, don't I just save you the trouble? Let me read it to you instead. Let's see, where is it? Here it is. Great. Let's get round out the friend group's families. Here's my suggestions for Larry L. and Brain Dead to keep everything cohesive with the world we've built. Larry L. Sunflare, Galaxy Eyes. Full name is Larry L. Sunflare. Family overview. Mother is Lady Amara Sunflare, a talented fire mage and instructor at the Paramedic Square, part-time, passionate, dynamic, and fiercely protective. She has the classic fiery personality and encourages Ariel's bold nature from a young age. Zodiac sign is Leo. Father Lord Kaelis Sunflare, a merchant who deals with the enchanted gemstones and rare magical components. Charismatic, optimistic, and a bit of a risk taker in business. He travels often, which sometimes leaves Lyriel with her mother. Zodiac sign is Sagittarius. Younger sister is Celine Sunflare, age about 11. Shy but bright, showing early talent for illusion magic, looks up to her big sister's confidence. Home, a vibrant, colorful house in the upper middle terraces with plenty of enchanted lights, and a small rooftop garden, safely contained, of course. It's a fire garden. The family is comfortably well off, but not noble level rich. Dynamic, warm, expressive, and encouraging individuality. They love big family dinners and dramatic storytelling. Brain Dead. Full name Thalorian Brain Dead Shadowvale. Full name Thalorian Shadowvale. He hates the full name and prefers nickname. Family overview. Father is Larendel Timberheart, the carpenter we already named. Practical, patient, wise, and deeply proud of his craftsmanship. Loves working with his hands and teaching others. Zodiac sign is Taurus. Mother is Elandra Timberheart, a quiet, kind-hearted healer who works part-time at a local apothecary in the lower terraces. She's the emotional glue of the family and very supportive of Brain Dead Shadow Priest path, even if it worries her sometimes. She's a Cancer. No siblings. He's an only child, which contributes to his serious introspective nature. Home, the modest but well-kept house in the lower terraces we visited. Rooftop cistern, composting systems, handmade furniture, warm oil lamp lighting. It's small but full of love and resourcefulness. Dynamic, close, grounded in values, hard work, humility, and making the most out of what you have. They're proud of Brain Dead's achievements, but keep him humble. These families give nice contrast. Michelle's family is structured, achievement oriented, Virgo Capricorn. Lumi's family is creative and open, which is Pisces Aquarius. Marielle's family is fiery and expressive, which is Leo and Sagittarius. Braindad's family practical and resilient, Taurus and Cancer. Okay, so that's all good. That's fine. Sounds good. What about the Carmen, Bobby, and Whitney's family? Excellent. Here's a complete set for Carmen, Whitney, and Bobby to round out the group. Carmen, full name Carmen Rosalind Moonwhisper. Family overview. Mother, Lady Osida Moonwhisper, a talented seamstress and embroidery artist that creates intricate performance costumes and formal wear. Warm, family oriented, and very proud of Carmen's dancing. She is the emotional heart of the family. She's a Cancer sign. The father, Lord Garrick Moonwhisper, a musician and lute player who performs local taverns and festivals. Laid back, creative, and the one who encouraged Carmen's love of both dance and singing. He's a Libra. Younger brother, Elias Moonwhisper, age of about 10. Playful and artistic, often tries to copy Carmen's dance moves badly. Home, an open a cozy artistic house, in a smaller town outside of Ceremone, about a day's travel. Modest, but filled with music, fabrics, and love. Carmen visits every few weekends. Dynamics, very close and very affectionate. Family time is sacred, which is why Carmen misses them during the week of student housing. Whitney and Bobby, they're the twins. Full name Whitney and Bobby Starvale. Family overview: mother is Lady Celestia Starvale, a former singer and performer who retired to raise the twins, elegant, wise, and still has a powerful stage presence. She understands the performing world deeply and supports the decision to leave the controlling troupe. She's a Leo. Father is Lord Darius Starvale, a respectable arcade musician who composes for royal events in theaters. Disciplined but warm, he is proud of his daughter's talent, but glad now that she's in a healthy environment. He's a Capricorn. Home: a comfortable, well-appointed house in the middle upper terraces of Silver Moon. Nice crystal lighting, a music room, and a small performance garden. Dynamic, supportive, and musically rich, these twins have always been treated as individuals despite being twins, which helped them develop their slightly different personalities. Whitney's is more commanding than Bobby's, more playful. These families feel distinct and fit naturally with what we have already established. Carmen's family, artistic, warm, and family focused, explains why she values visits home so much. Whitney and Bobby's family is more established in the performing world, which explains her early talent and confidence. Okay, so now we're going to continue on, and I'm going to continue on with this. Michelle's father visits brain dead father. The names we chose are good. The names you selected are fine. And immediately the two men have become good friends and begin to work on projects. Michelle is working on some mortise and tenons. That was one in it. Tenon. No, it's two tenons. Tenons that will be part of several of the furniture pieces that the workshop is making. Her father is surprised at how good she is making tenons and mortises with a wood chisel and a hand drill and a properly fitted carved peg holding it together. Pegs the wood together. Okay, so because we got about 30 minutes more because I keep things within the guidelines of 30 minutes, so about an hour. So let's try to get this done as fast as we can, because I know some people hate these shows, and I don't know why, but all right, let's see. Let's hear it. Let's listen to it. Okay.
A warm afternoon in the lower terraces workshop. A few days later, your father, Lord Thalarian Marie, decided to take a rare afternoon off from his contracting business. He accompanied you and Lumi to the workshop in the lower terraces. The moment he and Lorandel Timberheart, Braindead's father, met, something clicked. The two men shook hands firmly, and within minutes they were deep in conversation about timber quality, structural integrity, and the challenges of building on the steep terraces. Lorandel Timberheart, Thalarian, I've heard good things about your company. You do solid work on the bigger projects. It's an honor. Your father, the honor is mine. I saw some of the new housing frames you and Hammeran Nails are putting up. Smart designs, very smart, especially with the living wood integration the Druids are helping with. The two men quickly bonded over their shared love of building things properly. They spent the next hour discussing materials, permits, and ideas for future collaborative projects. Lorandel's hands-on craftsmanship paired with your father's larger-scale contracting experience. Meanwhile, you were already at the workbench, quietly focused. You had a set of beautiful reddish oak pieces in front of you. With calm, practiced movements, you worked on a series of mortise and tenon joints for several upcoming furniture pieces, cabinet frames, and a sturdy dining table. Using a sharp wood chisel and a hand drill, you carefully cut the mortises, then shaped the tenons to fit perfectly. You finished each joint by carving elegant wooden pegs that locked everything together without metal fasteners. Your father wandered over mid-conversation and stopped dead in his tracks when he saw your work. Your father, McKellant? He picked up one of the completed joints, turning it slowly in his hands. The fit was tight, clean, and perfectly aligned. The carved pegs were smooth and decorative, while still structurally sound. Your father, these are excellent, better than some of my journeymen. The shoulders are crisp, the tenons are perfectly proportioned. How are you doing this so naturally? You smiled softly, brushing sawdust from your hands. You, Mikkel. It feels familiar. In my previous life, my father taught me. We worked on houses together. The muscle memory is still there. Lorandel Timberheart came over and let out an appreciative whistle. Lorandel. She's got the gift, Thalarian. We've been using her joints on 3 different pieces already. Strong, clean work. Your father looked at you with a complex mix of pride, surprise, and a touch of wistfulness. Your father. I spend so much time managing contracts and crews these days. I forgot how satisfying it is to just make something with your own hands. Seeing my daughter do this so well, it makes me want to pick up the tools again. He rolled up his sleeves with a grin. Your father. All right. Put me to work, Lorandel. Show me what you're building. If my daughter can cut joints this fine, the least I can do is help finish a few pieces. The rest of the afternoon was genuinely joyful. Your father and Lorandel worked side by side like old friends, laughing, trading techniques, and planning how to combine large-scale contracting with the sustainable, hands-on methods of the lower terraces. Lumi helped with sanding and small carvings, clearly enjoying herself. Lorandel clapped your father on the back at the end of the day. Lorandel, you're always welcome here, Thalarian. We could use a man with your experience. Your father, I might just take you up on that. It's been too long since I remembered why I started building in the first place. What happens next, Mikkel? Do you want to keep working on the furniture pieces with everyone? Have a quiet father-daughter moment on the way home?
I
Bring
can
more
see
of the
where I
group,
like using
Carmen,
rock
etc.,
here.
to the workshop next time? Or fast forward to something else, training, another family visit, etc. Your direction.
Now, you see, this is where I like rock, because instead of basically leaving me to, like, wonder exactly where we should go, Grok kind of gives me kind of a nudge, so to speak. Of course, I can basically throw everything out the door and go, I'm going a completely different angle, but I'm not going to with this. I think we're going to combine, we all work for a few more hours, and then my father and I talk as we walk home, as he remembered me telling him of my prior life Now he realizes that I was not making up stories as prior to now he never saw watched me making woodcraft before now. Okay, so there we go. So that's what we're doing, and then what I do is hit crack read it because that way my eyes don't get tired so fast. But it's ironic because I'm still reading along with it, in case I need to catch up, in case it gets bogged down, as it sometimes does. And but when it does it right, it makes my life a lot easier. So
The workshop stayed busy for several more hours. The sound of chisels, saws, and quiet conversation filled the space as everyone worked together. You continued refining the mortise and tenon joints, your hands moving with that same natural confidence. Lumi was happily sanding pieces under hammer and nails guidance. Your father and Lorandel Timberhart worked side by side on a large cabinet frame, trading stories about difficult building sites and laughing like they had known each other for years. By the time the sun began to set and oil lamps were lit, several beautiful pieces were much closer to completion. The walk home. As the evening cooled, you and your father left the lower terraces and began the walk back toward your family villa in Fairbreeze. The path wound gently uphill, with Silvermoon's glowing spires visible in the distance. Your father was quiet for a long stretch, clearly thinking. Eventually he spoke, his voice softer than usual. Your father, Michele, I owe you an apology. You looked up at him, surprised. Your father, when you first started talking about your previous life, the memories, the father who taught you woodworking, the contracting work, I believed you, but part of me thought it might be stories. Childhood imagination mixed with whatever strange magic brought you here. But today, he shook his head, still processing what he had seen. Your father, I watched you cut those mortises and tenons, the way you handled the chisel, the precision of the pegs, the way you checked the fit without even thinking about it. That wasn't beginner work. That was the work of someone who had done it for years, someone who learned from a master. He stopped walking for a moment and turned to face you fully, the path lanterns casting warm light on his face. Your father, I saw my daughter today, but I also saw the craftsman you were before. It was real, all of it. I'm sorry I didn't fully understand until I saw it with my own eyes. You felt a quiet warmth in your chest. You, Mikkel. It's okay, Dad. I know it's a lot to take in. Sometimes I still have trouble believing it myself, but the memories are there, the skills too. It feels good to use them again, especially with you and Lorandel. Your father placed a gentle hand on your shoulder as you continued walking. Your father, then we'll make sure you get to use them. I meant what I said earlier. I want to start working with my hands again. Maybe we can do some projects together. You, me, Lumi, Lorandel, we could build something special. Something that blends the old ways and the new druid methods. He smiled, a touch of pride and wonder in his eyes. Your father, my daughter, the druid and the woodworker. I'm very proud of you, Mikkel, past life and this one. The rest of the walk home was comfortable and warm, filled with quiet conversation about future workshop plans and what it means to carry memories across lives. What happens next, Mikkel? Do you want to continue the conversation with your father at home? Bring this up with Lumi or the rest of the group later? Jump to Lumi's first full weekend at the workshop? Or move to something else, training, another family visit, etc. Your direction.
okay, well first let me take a quick look at the chat before I forget here because I do want to read them when I can. So let me just slide over here real quick here. Brian K says you can't see shit. How do you go to this stuff? That's interesting way of putting it. Um, Seems I have been debagged again. Debagged. Give forever consciousness. I never took his wrench away. Um, It was perimeter when we originally removed all the wrenches to start over because we had so many fake wrenches, people that left. So there we go. That's all fixed now. Um, Brian K said, "Good for every consciousness bench back." I did that. Brian K said, "How do you go into this stuff? You don't keep shit." I hate these type of shows. Then why are you watching it? Goon sessions. Rusty, come on. Hey, I'm at. Let's see, Rusty, Ray. You can't see shit. Dude, remember, this character in this story is not registered blind. Okay, please understand that. Rusty, come on. Oh, don't get in my way. Please don't get in my way. What it says, some from Twitch says, Whack Nam. For someone named QTEXE1, welcome to the show. Brian shows eye, mouth, eye. Let's see what else we got here. Let's see. Brian K says, hey, Jantix. Brian K says, I watch because we're gooning together, Michelle. Well, I'm hoping you're learning something too. All right, so let's continue on. It sounds like there's a lot of family bonding involved here. So let's continue the chat, and afterwards, and the next day I go visit Lumi as we have some free time after Druid school. Okay, to hang out. Okay, so basically this is kind of important because remember, you're only 14 years, Earth years old, so don't expect them to do anything like, eventually they're already doing practice, battlegrounds. So they're kind of doing that now with other schools in the Horde. But, that's what they did last week. They're going to do some more of those too. But let's go back to the story here.
The next day, after Druid classes, the morning lessons at Verdant Grove had focused on advanced herb identification and basic battlefield triage. By the time the afternoon free period began, you felt pleasantly tired but in good spirits. You made your way to the Middle Terraces to visit Lumi at her family home. The Dawnvale residence was a pleasant 2-story house with a small but well-tended rooftop garden that Lumi had already started enhancing with druidic touches. A few glowing moon petals and stronger herb beds. Lumi was waiting for you on the front porch, her reddish-brown hair tied back in a loose braid. She grinned when she saw you approaching. Lumi, Michele, perfect timing. I just got back from morning classes. Come on in, Mom made fresh honey cakes. Inside, the house had a warm, lived-in feel. Soft crystal lights mixed with natural sunlight, and the air smelled of herbs and baked goods. Lumi's mother, Serafina Dawnvale, greeted you kindly from the kitchen. Serafina, Michele, it's lovely to finally meet you properly. Lumi talks about you constantly. Please, make yourself at home. Lumi's father, Valor, waved from his workbench in the corner where he was tinkering with a small arcane crystal array. Valor, good to see you, Michele. Heard you and Lumi have been making quite the impression in the warrior cross training. Defensive dancing, was it? After some polite conversation with her parents, and a quick hello to her little brother Finian, who was excited to show you a wooden cat figurine he carved, Lumi pulled you upstairs to her room so you could talk more freely. Her bedroom was cozy, shelves full of books on nature magic, a few half-finished wood carvings, clearly inspired by her new workshop visits, and a window overlooking the glowing city below. Lumi flopped onto her bed and looked at you with a mix of excitement and thoughtfulness. Lumi, so, how are you feeling after yesterday? Your dad seemed really moved watching you work on those joints, and now he and Laurendale are basically best friends. That was kind of perfect. She rolled onto her side, propping her head on her hand. Lumi, I've been thinking about it a lot. My parents are supportive of the druid path, but they still worry about the combat stuff, especially after hearing about the battleground. Mom keeps asking if I'm eating enough and getting enough rest. She gave a small laugh. Lumi, what about you? How did the walk home with your dad go? Did he ask more about your past life after seeing you work? The two of you had the whole afternoon free. It felt good to just relax and talk with your best friend. What happens next, McKeely? Do you want to tell Lumi about the conversation with your father on the walk home? Ask Lumi more about how her parents are handling her training? Suggest doing something together this afternoon, visiting the workshop, practicing defensive dancing, etc.? Or bring up something else, your dialogue or direction.
Tell Lumi about how you and your father talked about what you know and how happy he was to meet Brain Dead's father and wants to begin working with him on the projects they are working on. You reminded Lumi that in your past life that you learned of power tools, but you felt more comfortable doing things with hand tools which gave you the skills you showed. Lumi also remarks on what she remembers from her own past life. Remember now, guys, that these girls remember their past lives. So it's it's not like they're starting over entirely from scratch. They have been allowed to keep the memories when they were reborn, so they have their prior skills, which is a rarity. They're building on what they've already know. Now, for those of you who are wondering if we're ever going to talk about Michelle and Lumi dating and how they shared their past together, I think I could cover that briefly. Yeah, Lumi remarks that she remembered how you, okay, grammatically, it's Lumi, Carmen, and you shared the same body in the past life. That is why you three are so tight, is you have shared experiences. Okay. Now, I admit it sometimes just takes a while to read, and if it gets caught up, it gets lost, or times out reading all the text, I will continue reading. That's why I'm reading along with it. Okay, because there's so much to go on here. So let's go on here. Let's continue on.
You settled comfortably on the edge of Lumi's bed, the afternoon light filtering through the window. The honey cakes were delicious, but the conversation quickly turned deeper. You, Michelle. The walk home with my dad was really nice. He was quiet at first, but then he admitted he hadn't fully believed how detailed my past life memories were until he saw me working with the wood yesterday. The way I cut the mortises and tenons, it surprised him. He said it looked like the work of someone who had done it for years. You smiled softly. You, Michelle? He was so happy to meet Laurendale. They got along instantly. Dad even said he wants to start working with him on the housing projects. Maybe combine his contracting experience with the hands-on craftsmanship they're doing in the lower terraces. It felt good to see him excited about building again, instead of just managing contracts. Lumi listened with a gentle smile, her reddish-brown hair catching the light. Lumi, that's really sweet. Your dad seems like a good man. I'm glad he got to see that side of you. You continued, opening up more. You, Michelle. In my past life, my father taught me a lot. I learned how to use power tools, saws, drills, routers, but I always felt more comfortable with hand tools. Chisels, hand drills, planes, there was something honest about it. That's why the skills came back so naturally when I was working on those joints. It felt like coming home. Lumi was quiet for a moment, then nodded slowly, her expression turning thoughtful. Lumi, I get that. Sometimes the old memories hit me too. Not as strongly as yours, maybe, but I remember bits and pieces, especially about us three. She looked at you with soft eyes. Lumi, I remember that in the past life, the three of us, you, me, and Carmen, we shared the same body at times, like we were different parts of one soul taking turns or something. That's why we feel so connected now. Even when we're in our own separate bodies, it still feels like we've known each other forever, like we've already been through so much together. She reached over and gently bumped your shoulder with hers. Lumi, that's probably why we're so tight, why it feels so natural to be best friends, almost like sisters, or more than sisters. The memories are fuzzy, but the feeling is really strong, especially when we're all together with Carmen. The room felt warm and safe as the two of you sat with those old memories and new realities. Lumi smiled. Lumi, I'm really glad we found each other again in this life. What happens next, Michelle? Do you want to share more of your own past life memories with Lumi? Talk about what it means that the three of you shared a body before? Suggest going to visit Carmen together later? Or move to something else, workshop, training, etc. Your dialogue or direction.
Well, how about share more of our lives? Both of our lives. And talk about what it was like, and talk about what it was like for three souls to share the same body, the good and the bad, as we experienced every good and bad. Keep it clean, good and bad. Okay, I would love to go further than that, but because they're 14-year-olds, I don't want to go into the crazy shit, okay? I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I don't think you want to go into the deep shit. Yeah, I would say just keep it appropriate for a 14-year-old at this point, because I think if you got into the stuff we really did, I think that this would all of a sudden turn into an adult novel, and I want to keep this kind of generic enough that people can read it and not be covering their eyes with shame. Agreed. Okay, let's go on here.
You and Lumi sat together in comfortable silence for a moment,
I
the
think there's
afternoon
more than
light
one
warming the
watching.
room. Then you spoke softly, opening up more than you usually did.
There
Michelle,
is
it
currently
was
5 watching.
complicated, sharing one body with you and Carmen. Sometimes it felt like the most natural thing in the world. We were never really alone. There was always someone there who understood what I was feeling, even when I couldn't explain it. The three of us could switch who was fronting, depending on what the situation needed. You were usually the bold, protective one. Carmen brought the warmth and creativity.
Nettles, you can
I think
always
I was
take
the
the
one
raw
who
scripts
planned
that
and
we
worried.
save in a
You
general
gave a
chat
small,
and you can
bittersweet
build on them
smile.
yourself.
You, Michelle, the good parts were beautiful. When we worked together, we were unstoppable. We could handle so much more than one person should. There were moments of pure joy, laughing at the same jokes at the same time, feeling each other's excitement during a good performance or a quiet night. It felt like having two sisters who were closer than blood. We protected each other, loved each other deeply. Your voice grew quieter, you, Michelle, but the bad parts, they were really hard. Sometimes it felt crowded. If one of us was hurting or overwhelmed, it affected all three. There were times when we fought for control, not in a mean way, but because we all had different needs at the same moment. And when the body got exhausted or sick, we all suffered together. Toward the end, when things got really difficult, it was painful. We could feel each other's fear and sadness so clearly. It made the hard times heavier. Lumi listened carefully, her expression soft and understanding. She reached over and took your hand. Lumi, I remember that too. It was like living in a house with two other people who knew every single thought and feeling you had. No secrets. Sometimes it was comforting. I always knew I wasn't alone, but other times it was overwhelming, especially when we disagreed. I remember wanting to be more outgoing and adventurous, while you wanted to be careful, and Carmen just wanted everyone to be happy. We had to learn how to compromise really fast. She squeezed your hand gently. Lumi. The good parts, though, those were everything. When we were in sync, it felt like magic. We could create so much songs, stories, performances. We supported each other through everything. Even when the world was cruel, we had each other. That's why it feels so right now. Even though we have our own bodies, we already know how to be close. We already chose each other. Lumi smiled, a little misty-eyed. Lumi, I think that's why the three of us found each other again so quickly in this life. The bond never really broke. It just changed shape. The two of you sat together for a while, sharing quiet memories, funny moments, difficult ones, and the deep love that had carried across lives. Lumi, I'm really glad we get to do this life with separate bodies, but still together. It feels like a second chance. What happens next, Michelle? Do you want to keep talking about specific memories from the shared body time? Bring Carmen into this conversation later? Shift to something lighter, workshop, training, etc. Or go in a different direction. Your turn.
Okay. Um. We returned to class the next day. We found out that we had another practice battleground with the orcs in 2 weeks. We were encouraged to practice with the other schools to improve our battlefield communications. After class, me and Lumi, caught up with Carmen and we talked to her about what we remembered from our past lives. She too was excited to share what she remembered from the prior knee injury and my learning to recover to our prior lives on YouTube. Okay, because after all, she remembers. You remember. Yeah, apparently I did too. Yeah, well, they're 14 years old, so they're not gonna get fresh. Not right now, anyway. They maybe we fast forward maybe about 4 years after going through starting their questing. They might start getting into more physical things when they become the equivalent of 21 years old. Um,
The next day, back at Verdant Grove Academy, the morning after your heartfelt talk with Lumi, you both returned to Verdant Grove for another full day of training. The air in the main lecture grove was buzzing with energy. Archdruid Fielar stood before the class, his expression serious but encouraging. Archdruid Fielar, in 2 weeks, we will have another supervised battleground against the orcs. This time, the instructors from all schools will be watching closely. Your performance last time showed promise, but also clear weaknesses in coordination and communication under pressure. You are encouraged to practice with students from the Warrior and Mage Academies, and even reach out to allies in other Horde schools if possible. True strength comes from unity. The class murmured with a mix of excitement and nervousness. You and Lumi exchanged a determined glance. After classes ended for the day, you and Lumi made your way to Dawnspire Academy to catch up with Carmen. She was finishing a rehearsal and met you both in one of the peaceful garden courtyards, still wearing her practice attire, silver bells chiming softly. Carmen hugged you both warmly. Carmen, there you are. I heard you had another battleground coming up. How are you both feeling about it? You sat together on a stone bench surrounded by blooming flowers. The conversation naturally turned deeper. You, Michelle, we were talking yesterday about our past lives, about how the three of us shared the same body at times. It felt important to tell you too. Lumi nodded. Lumi, we remembered the good and the hard parts, the closeness, the way we protected each other, the times it felt crowded or painful when one of us was struggling. Carmen's eyes softened with recognition. She was quiet for a moment, then spoke gently. Carmen, I remember it too. It was like having two sisters who were always with me, even when I was the one in control. Sometimes it was wonderful. We could create so much together. The performances, the music, the way we supported each other through everything. But other times it was really difficult, especially when my knee was at its worst. She touched her knee absently, a shadow crossing her face. Carmen, I remember the pain from the old injury, how hard it was to keep performing through it.
it's
And I remember
interesting
you,
because the knee
Michele,
injury is
how patiently
Michelle's.
you helped me learn to recover, how you adapted everything so we could keep going. The YouTube videos we made together, teaching people how to move and heal despite chronic pain, those felt important, like we were turning our struggles into something that could help
Yeah, in
others.
a
She
way.
smiled, a
In a
little emotional.
way.
Carmen, that's why it feels so right being with you two again. Even in separate bodies, I still feel that bond, like we chose each other again in this life. The three of you sat together in the garden for a long while, sharing memories, both the joyful and the painful ones. It felt healing to talk openly about the lives you had shared before. Carmen, no matter what happens in the next battleground, we've already been through harder things together. We've got this. What happens next, Mikkel? Do you want to keep talking with Carmen about specific memories? Practice defensive dancing together to prepare for the upcoming battleground? Invite the whole group for a bigger conversation, or fast forward toward the next battleground. Your direction.
Just a correction. The knee injury was Michelle's left knee. However, being they all shared the same body, Carmen had joined after the injury when Lomi originally asked for assistance when I was in the MRI at the hospital. Carmen had joined us about 2 years later, but chose to stay as she found the situation pleasant and supportive. Because the thing, well, technically, it was me in your body. So yeah, I can see how Grok could have gotten it wrong. Yeah, but I mean, it's no big deal. I mean, it's almost time to wrap it up anyway. It is almost time to wrap it up, but let's go ahead and play this last section for now.
Correction noted. Thank you for the clarification. Here's how the conversation continued with the accurate details. Carmen listened carefully as you and Lumi shared more, then gently corrected and added her own memories. Carmen, I remember it a little differently, but it makes sense now. She looked at you with soft eyes. Carmen, the knee injury, that was your left knee, Mikkel. I didn't join right away. Lumi reached out for help when you were in the hospital during the MRI. She was worried and asked if I could come support you both. I joined about 2 years later. Carmen smiled warmly, a little nostalgic. Carmen, once I was there, I chose to stay. It just felt right. The three of us together, it was supportive, loving. Even when things were hard with the pain and the recovery, there was a gentleness between us. I liked being part of it. It felt like home. She reached out and gently touched your left knee for a moment, almost instinctively. Carmen, I remember helping you with the recovery exercises, the way we adapted everything so you could keep creating despite the injury, the YouTube videos we made together, teaching people how to move and heal with chronic pain. Those felt meaningful, like we were turning something difficult into something useful. Lumi nodded, confirming. Lumi, yeah, I remember asking Carmen to join. It was scary watching you in that MRI machine, but once she came, the three of us just fit. Even when the body was hurting, we had each other. The three of you sat with that shared history for a while. It felt tender and honest, acknowledging both the closeness and the challenges of sharing one body across different times. Carmen, I'm really glad we found each other again in this life with our own bodies. It feels like we got a chance to be close in a new way without having to share the pain quite so directly. She smiled at both of you. Carmen, no matter what happens in the next battleground, we've already been through a lot together. We know how to support each other. What happens next, Mikkel? Would you like to keep exploring more specific memories with Carmen and Lumi? Practice defensive dancing together to prepare for the upcoming battleground? Bring the whole group together for a bigger conversation? Or move forward in time? Your direction.
Let's start by saving this chat and sharing it out in general chat. Like I said, we're doing. You guys can take this story as well, and you guys can share it and work on it as well. If you want to take the story further in another way, it's open source. You guys can go where you want with it. It's up to you. I'm just giving you the opportunity because I realize there's a lot of different people. And let's see. Okay, everyone, where we are in the story as of now. Command V. This way you can take the story and work on it too. So that solves a lot easier for me and you. And now let's take a look at your questions, since now it's time to read the questions that I may have missed. First of all, I don't know what gooning is, Brian K. So please understand that I don't know what the term means. All right. So let's go further back here. Let's see. Oh my goodness. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, got it. Oh, so it is an actual goon session, so I don't know what that means. This sex says noodles. Brian K says, don't bully me or I'll come. What does that mean? Brian K said, Michelle, okay, computer, tell me the two little nasties sluts to start rubbing each other. As I said earlier, you're only about 14 Earth years old at this point. So that's I'm not going to go there until at least maybe 16, maybe 18, because they're technically not of age yet. Now, remember, the actual years is Earth years. So you take 16 and multiply it by 14. 14 multiplied by 5. That's, let's see, 5, carry the 4. They're about 94 U.S. Chronological years old, but we're telling it from Earth era, Earth aging. So the story is being kind of compressed a little. Some of the story is actually taking much place much slower in Silver Moon, and I don't want to bore you guys to tears by talking about the glacial pace of how long Blood Elves live for. That would just totally like put a big saboot in the story. Nobody wants that. I don't. You don't. Maybe fast forward to the stream and the cream streams. What the heck is defensive dancing? Oh, I got your curiosity. Defensive dancing is learning how to keep active and keep nimble on your feet when you're on a battleground, casting spells, dodging spells from mages and rogues and warriors, learning how to do the footwork to safely stay on your feet as you're moving around as a druid or as a mage or as a priest. You need to know how to deal with things that are constantly changing. The terrain, your center of balance is constantly changing as you're moving constantly. That's what defensive dancing teaches. So, let's see. So the next question is Perfect Consciousness. This says MMD Modgate 2026. Tell them to burn another cross. Burn another cross for what? Terrorists is Brian K. Well, I don't know if they're terrorists, but so like I said, we got to keep these stories kind of short because I know you guys don't like long spiels. I've seen the viewer attention spans. I've seen how thanks to the way things are on the internet now, everything has shrunk to the point where everybody's got the attention span of a gnat. Especially Generation Alpha has the attention span of a gnat. People like me are used to writing deep, long stories, and we love it. But as I said, people have attention spans of a gnat. So I got to keep things short, and an hour is about the longest Generation Alpha can tolerate. But we are going to eventually get into the interpersonal relationships beyond friends and give it about another 2 or 3 weeks because we're going to be jumping ahead in the story. Right now, we're just building kind of the background. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. By the way, defensive dancing is something that boxers would normally do because the same thing when you're in the boxing ring. You need to be able to walk, to try to dodge your opponent's punches. It's the same thing. But when you're on a battleground, you're also dealing with a surface that's not necessarily flat. So you got to be able to stand on rough terrain as well. No, we're just getting the story developed. We're starting to develop the interpersonal part. So that's important. Any writer is going to develop his characters or her characters is going to need to set down the background, the scenery, the environment, the pictures. In fact, that's a very important part of any novella or story writing is developing the full story. But anyway, it is time to wrap it up, folks. And I want to thank you all for coming today. I really think it's wonderful that you're here. And don't forget that we also appreciate you watching these very eclectic and unusual streams.
Oh yeah!
Absolutely. And we hope that you'll continue to come and watch the streams.
Oh yeah!
We don't need to have a full house here. But eventually people are going to start to become curious like Brian K was. So don't be afraid, Brian K, to keep on coming and keep on learning. You got it. You got it. All right, so let's get the blessings out of the way, and then we will take it from here. May all of you have a happy and safe night. Enjoy your dreams. Enjoy your passions. Have fun. And yes, since I uploaded the story to general chat, you can go ahead and go with your own variation of the same story. I don't mind. Go ahead. You can do that. And I think you'll have fun doing it. Because we want you to also not be afraid to use your creativity. Likewise, we want you to remember that the world is a lot more mysterious than you may think. And, you know what? You notice your camera. I know. Yeah, your camera is like, you're like, I got it. Don't worry about it. Okay, you're talking about the camera angle. Yeah. Okay, we'll fix that. All right. So, let's do this. Okay, be careful not to knock yourself offline. Oh, wait, that's better. Okay. Okay, so for right now, everybody, let's just get ready to wrap it up. So may all of you guys have a happy and safe night. Don't forget to be excellent to one another. Like and share, like and share. Like and subscribe and share. And don't forget to party on, dude, and be excellent to one another. We'll see you tomorrow morning for the morning show. And tomorrow night is the open Discord lounge. And we welcome everybody to join us tomorrow night and be part of the fun stream. Until that time, good night, everybody. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Michelle and Maria Lumia will always be there for you. Michelle, never stop believing in yourself. Go out there and show the world what you can do. Go kick some ass and have a good time doing it. I love both of you so much. I love how far you have come on YouTube.
In the summer's embrace, she finds her way, twisting and turning, she won't let things sway. With love for the music and fire in her soul, she dances through life, her heart in control. She won't give up, she won't sit down. In her purple dress, she twirls around with